We live in an incredibly segregated city.
Detroit is predominantly black. It can be very divided.
You have the black people here, you have the white people here, you have Polish people here, the Hispanic people here.
Almost every neighborhood is, 90% black or more.
There's a high poverty level here.
We've had 10 foreclosures just on our block in the last year.
There's probably more crime in this community than people are comfortable with.
Detroit has gone from a high point of 1.85 million people to today we have about 715,000 in the city. This used to have 1,000 structures on this land. People have a lot of good reasons that they shouldn't trust a white guy coming into their neighborhood. When we knew we were coming to Detroit, I'd been thinking about how Detroit is, a place I've never been. I'm an outsider there. Detroit's a black city. I'm a white guy. It doesn't make sense for me to go and be the leader of a ministry in Detroit. Samuel was not called to be the king. He was called to find and anoint the king. He found David, he anointed him, but David was the king. And so we realized if we want to be raising up leaders for Detroit, if we want to find the Davids for Detroit, we need to move to a neighborhood that looks like most of Detroit.
I remember the first day when we drove up. We're driving up to this house that's all boarded up. And I literally said this prayer: God, please help me to see some sort of vision in this. First, it smelled disgusting. It was
dark, it was damp, it was, plaster falling off the walls.
Every day we're looking at paintbrushes and scrubbing floors, and it was just like, what are we doing? Did we miss something? Did we go off the onto the wrong track or something like that? Because this isn't about people. To then go from that night, of the first night being in our house, to now, where it's like every room is filled, every room is in use, that's the thing where it's like, that's God.
In a sense, the idea of community was always there with us. We always talked about we want to share life with people. We don't want to just kind of be involved with people in a small way, but we want to share life. Living out following Jesus together, in a way that draws people into it, in a way that we build each other up.
And I think that no matter what we were called to, community was always going to be a part of it.
Over the years, we've had, I think, 13 different people live with us for between 6 months all the way up to 6 years. And so at some point, we realized it needed to keep expanding. Over the years, God really laid it on our hearts to buy these. And it was about 2 years ago we bought these.
The very first time that he told me, what if we bought the houses next door and then our neighbors could stay?
Really?
Yes.
I didn't even remember that. But
oh my goodness. And I was just like, you're crazy, People were coming in and out of these houses. People were squatting in them, dealers.
They had a 24-hour walk-up service. Basically, you'd pull up to the curb, they'd come out and, you didn't have to get out of your car.
Drive-through.
Yeah. So all the things combined, we wanted to expand our community. We had more people involved with us in our house, and our house was full. And so we started thinking, what about growing into this?
We moved here about, a year ago? We was fortunate enough to be one of the first families. We actually helped fix this one up. But this was a miracle house here because it was really tore down.
This one's next on the list probably for getting fixed up. As I walk through it, I can picture a family here. You know, I can picture it fixed up. As I work, I pray about the family that will end up being here.
Just to have this little corner right here means a lot to me because where I was raised, it was like every man for themselves. I mean, you couldn't ask your neighbor for some sugar, you know. But when I go over Matthew and Bev's house, we feel at home. That's why it probably means a lot to me because it feels like the family that I yearn for a lot.
It's definitely a blessing being here. It's a lot. I'm not used to just meeting people and then right off the bat we like brothers or sisters or family. It was kind of new for me. I had to work myself into it, like, you know, why they so nice, or why they, you know, just love me. They don't even know me like that.
There were a lot of times where I felt like this was not worth it, because living in this community, you know, it was me making the decision to invite these people into my junk. You know, at the beginning, it seems all holy and nice, and you're like, yay! But when it started happening, that mess hurt.
And to be honest with you, if I was married, I would not have people living with me. And I don't know, as much as I love community, when I get married, me and my wife, we gonna have the house to ourselves for a while.
I feel like one of the reasons why I'm still here is that it's still uncomfortable for me.
In turns, it's been embarrassing, it's been humbling, it's been challenging.
I'm still being stretched, and God is still refining me and bringing things to the surface that I just didn't know was there.
Since being in this community, I realized the need for reconciliation between races and between classes.
It's been good living with white people. It's made me think about things that I wouldn't have thought about and challenged me to do things that, you know, I wouldn't normally do.
We had a conversation about how us living together is like a mini marriage.
We rub up against each other, you know, like you said, iron sharpens iron. And I have a friend that always says, when that happens, sparks fly.
Because we live in intentional community, we choose to work our conflicts out instead of just leaving, instead of just moving out.
I've recognized just how self-centered I am in doing ministry over the years, where I think I can really fully mentor or pour into somebody by myself. But if we have a community doing it together, we end up giving a fuller picture of what the gospel is, a fuller picture of Jesus, because when they see us, that's the picture of God on earth. That's, you know, that's the way the Bible explains it.
Would it be a lot easier to live just Matt and I and our 2 kids? Yes. For real, yes. It really would, you know? And what we often come back to is, but we wouldn't want to live any other way. The world is going to know that we're disciples of Christ because of this fellowship, because of this love we have between each other. And the unique thing that has happened, the people that come from all different walks of life, you know, it's just like, it's amazing. I had this inkling of what I thought it could be, and oh my goodness, it became something even greater than I could have expected or even asked for.
The good news is about restoring people, reconciling people to God and people to each other, and bringing restoration and healing, and that's, the houses are just a physical representation of that.
we're a living example of what it means to be reconciled to one another.
And so just living together interracially is part of this picture of the kingdom, you know, the kingdom that has every tribe, tongue, and nation, and that God doesn't eliminate race in the end, but unites us.